tell me when you want another cup of coffee.
I'll be fine now, but thanks. Evening folks, welcome aboard to the Two Davies Show. We have got a subject picked out to talk about tonight, but we will be guided by your comments. So we'll start off on energy and the energy crisis, and wherever your comments take us, that's where we'll go. Okay. So good evening folks, we're just waiting on David joining us. It looks as like David's here, so let's get him on board. So I hope you can all see us and hear us okay. David should be joining us any second now. Right, tomorrow's show, so we're taking a wee break out of writing tomorrow's show to have a chat with you guys tonight. Good evening all, who we got? Oh, it's quite a few of you on board already, welcome. Neil, Brian, Jan, Jean, sorry, Irene, who else we got? Jim, Irene, we're still not get David yet, but apparently it's adding them. Austin, Fiona, nice to see you all here this evening folks. As I say, David should be joining us, it does say adding, so let's hope there's no any complications and it'll bloody well add them. Now if you're hearing me alright, just give me a wee thumbs up or two, or say I am hearing you alright. Right, so we've got a thumbs up, and apparently you're hearing me okay, but as I say, Mr. Milligan seems to give a problem getting in. It does say it's adding him, well, I don't seem to see him coming up on the screen. What do you mean sing? Shut up, Dragon. Sing. Bloody well sing. So this worked during the week, but it doesn't seem to be coming up now. It does say it's adding them, but we'll just need to see what bloody well happens. Mr. Milligan, if you're on the stream, I don't know what the lag is. That's why I went live a couple of minutes early, to try and stop this from bloody well happening. But as you know, this happened the last time. Once it gets on, we'll get on with it. You're going to excuse me relaxing with a cup of coffee and a cigarette, but I have been at work all day. And since I got in, I've been researching. I am writing tomorrow's vlog. Anyway, the subject tonight is going to be the energy and the energy crisis if Mr. Milligan ever gets to join us. I have absolutely no idea what the problem is. The Wi-Fi seems to be working fine. We'll move this out a wee bit. I can start a karaoke, can I, Brian? Not can I? You people haven't heard me bloody well sing. Although you might have done. We got pushed in our broth and we're singing a wee bit, wasn't it? Right, let's try this again, because Mr. Milligan doesn't seem to be able to get in. Add him again. No, I can't add him until he... David, you have to withdraw your previous request to join. So, I'll shut down your previous address. David, send me a new request to join, please. I've shut down your original request to join. This has gone way away. That's what I like about live broadcasting. You never know what's going to happen. You know, you just don't bloody well know. Oh, let's have a look. Lorna's here, Nancy's here. Sent request. It's not come through yet, David. Send me another one. Because when I shut down your last request, it has disappeared. Your new request. So send me another one. This is bloody murder. So much for technology. This is eating into our show. We'll just need to extend it by 5 minutes. Quiet wench. Oh, sorry, that's misogynist. Quiet dragon. Right, here we go. Let's try this again, folks. Right, let's add Mr. Milligan, the other David. And let's see if we can get him added this time. Well, it says it's adding you, David. So let's see what happens. Oh, this is bloody like this is like paint dry. Neil's saying that the Indies room would be 8:30ish. At this rate, Neil, it could be 8 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
See that I'm talking about right now. This isn't bloody well working. Is the request to join and the add-ins just disappeared? This is murder. Hold on, folks. I'll get a wee look, see what's going on here. Wi-Fi's good. Back. David, you're going to have to send me another request. This problem seems to be at your end, dear boy. Good audience tape. Hi everybody. We're still waiting for Mr. Milligan getting in. You never know, Davey might be off in a rant in a wee second. While we're waiting Mr. Milligan, let me tell you about a proposed bill which is about to hit. Now this proposed bill is to allow the Department of Work and Pensions to investigate fraud by themselves rather than the police being added to it. Now the thing behind it is, it's quite simple. They intend to persecute the poorest of us even more. Not just if they cut them out of voting, now they intend to persecute them even more. Now the reason why they can pull a stunt like this is the covert human resources bill, which allows government agents to break the law in the course of their duties, but it also allows them to empower government agents to have the power to arrest and things like that. So that will require a wee bit of legislation to go through the Westminster Parliament. But the meat and bones of it was covered in the Covert Human Sources Bill. And as you all know by listening to me, that bill specifically designed in order to let the government interfere in absolutely everything, including recruiting your children to spy on you. Oh. Mr. Milligan, you've managed to find the join button.
Yep. Is it? Can you hear me fine?
Speak.
Yeah, hello, how you doing?
Turn the volume up, dear boy.
Well, I've got a new volume to give you.
Bloody hell, the reason for having test broadcasts is to work this stuff out.
Yep.
You want to use a lot of laughing. Still, we're managing to hold your attention.
No, that's as loud as we go. I'll just speak up, David, that's all. Can you hear me okay now?
No.
You can't hear me?
Have you got your earpods in?
I've taken them out.
Take them out, try putting them back in.
Right.
Your earpods have got microphones on them, David. Try putting them back in.
Okay, hang on.
No, nothing. It's almost as if you're on mute.
Yeah, hold a second. Hear me now? Hello?
Hey.
Hello, David, I can hear you.
Quiet, David. Very quiet.
All right,
This is the
okay.
Volume's fine with David is it?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Well, it may be fine with you, but it's no. It's apparently my volume is fine until you come in and on.
Right.
Some people can hear us both, others can't.
We'll just carry on as we are, okay? I'll just speak up, all right?
The problem is, I can't hear you. And if I put my earphones in, as you know,
It gets
That
quiet.
ruins the volume
Yeah.
from me.
Okay.
Pull the phone in closer or something, David.
Yeah, okay. Hold it.
Lean in a bit, bring it in a bit.
That better?
Nah, it's crap. What have you done to your phone?
Nothing at all. No changes whatsoever.
Hold on, try something. Right, folks, let's get a sound test. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you absolutely perfectly.
I'm not asking you, I'm asking the community. You can hear him fine, Quentin. You can hear us both fine now.
Yep.
Okay, right, let's go on with this, David.
Let's
Right,
crack on.
We're supposed to be talking about energy. Energy, not just the energy crisis, but why the energy crisis doesn't make any sense in Scotland because of the capacity here in Scotland. Not too much. The capacity here in Scotland to generate huge amounts of electricity. So I think we'll let you talk a wee bit about the UK's energy generating capacity and the breakdown of it.
Yeah, okay. First off, I just want to talk about something I was investigating today, which was where the high energy prices came from, what caused it. All right. Now you've heard people talking about we're no longer part of Europe, so we've no longer got Europe's cap, right? Well, the place it actually comes from is Europe used to have a system called Euphemia. It stands for Pan-European Hybrid Electricity Market Integrations Algorithm, right? Basically what happened was every power station, every day, put the price per megawatt into an auction, within Europe, that is. And what would happen is that you would have the situation where some were cheap, some were more expensive. The ones that were cheap would feed into the areas that where they were getting expensive energy, and it would help to balance the whole thing throughout Europe and keep the prices down. Yeah, on a day-by-day basis.
Known as a cap. Basically, what happened was they bid the price down, and what they would take was a mean average right across the park.
Yeah.
But as
So
you say,
now,
specific areas would get cheaper energy than others because of the generation costs.
Yeah, well, now we have a situation where Britain has gone alone. It's broken off from the EU, and now we've got two auctions that take place just in the UK every day. One is Nord Pool, and the other one is EPEX. And when this happened, it happened 1st of January 2021, as you remember.
Yeah.
Literally, we got to a real cold spot in February, I believe, of that year, and there was a sudden real draw on all the power generation that we have, and we actually had some power stations putting in prices of £4,000 per megawatt. Some were 2,000, some were 3,000.
So basically, in the new UK internal bidding system, and rather than bid the price down the way they had in the previous system, the system, they're bidding the price up.
It's a Dutch auction.
Which brings us to an interesting thing that's happened in the mainstream media over the last couple of days. It's went to being extortionately high gas prices to extortionately high oil prices. And that's where we need to get a breakdown of how the energy market works. There are 32 gas power stations, if I remember right. There is 12 oil powered or diesel powered generators, and there is I can't mind how many nuclear stations off the top of my head, but I think it's 8, isn't it? 8 generators.
Yeah.
And so basically, we are paying extortionately high prices because England uses oil and gas to generate the most of its power.
Yeah.
So when the gas price dropped from a high in February to the point that now we've got a lot of gas and the gas price is quite low, they went to blaming gas for the huge energy costs to blaming oil, even though there's only 12 oil generators, most of which are round about London, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
Yeah, yep. And at the moment, Britain's got more gas than it can handle. We've got nowhere to store it, nowhere to put it, and the gas price, the gas spot price on the 22nd of March was 311 pence, £3.11 per therm.
Right.
Today's price, it's £1.37 per therm. So these gas-fired power stations are going off their nuts, running 24 hours a day as much as they possibly can, producing power onto the grid. And we're still getting charged exactly the same. Well, you know, the extortionate price we're getting charged. The prices should be dropping down really, really fast. They
That
aren't.
brings us back to the thing about Ofgem the other day there, when they said they wanted to shorten the period where they re-examined the cap. Maybe there's something in this, even though at the time everybody was outraged.
What they're talking about is creating a shorter period of time where it's looked at each time, right? Now, okay, I would say the simple way is look at it right now and get the prices down now, because we've seen the price of gas blooming dropping like a stone.
Yes.
And unless an authority like Ofgem comes in and says, no, we're reintroducing the cap at a lower price, then this is going to continue. This is going to continue ad infinitum. They were talking this morning on TV about the cost of living crisis, which is made up by the electricity costs and the gas costs and fuel and food. And what's going to happen is this is going to continue right on a year and a half, whatever. People are going to really suffer here unless this is taken over.
What we're seeing really is rampant profiteering in the energy markets. The food security problem's a different matter altogether. That has to do with that has to do with Brexit. And as the boss of Sainsbury's turned around and said live on television when they were blaming everything else, it was Brexit. The reason for that is because they're talking about the war in Russia, between Russia and Ukraine, forcing up wheat prices across the world, which it has done by 26%, by the way. But you've got to remember, Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine, who actually produce a third of the world's grain, they don't sell it into the Western market. They sell it into the African, Asian, and the other markets. So a lot of this is bollocks. Where we don't have the bollocks is when we talk about fertilizer prices and things like vegetables, oils, and sunflower oil. But I mean, when it comes to grain, the people in the West, we don't buy our grain for Russia, Belarus, or Ukraine. So that's just pissing about in the futures markets as well.
Yes.
That is just pure profiteering, you know.
Yep. I mean, for example, fertilizer, that's a good one that you brought on. Did you know that's produced using natural gas?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, obviously, if everybody's saying, oh, natural gas is really expensive, that makes the cost of fertilizer really expensive. Well, now it's not. It's down to getting on for a third of what it was. So therefore, all these costs are coming down. The farmers are going to complain that the fertilizer is going to be too expensive to use. And if they don't use fertilizer, they're not going to get the amount of crops that they were expecting.
Yes.
I mean, you know, so it's a really, really important point. It drives so many things in the economy. And if fertilizer becomes a problem, food becomes a problem.
Austin saying that to have something like an independent watchdog would mean them gaining access to the whole operation, therein subject to scrutiny, and revealing what they don't want us to know. And you're right, Austin, they don't want us to know that they're actually manipulating the markets for no good reason. Although Ukraine's holding 15 million tonnes of grain, this year's crop's no in yet. And that's just Ukraine's personal reserves. You know, all nations hold reserves. You know, so But you're right, Austin, to have all these sectors scrutinised and the bodies that deal in futures scrutinised by national governments would definitely rein this stuff in. It definitely would, because what we're seeing is a bit like casino banking. We're getting the very same thing in the currency markets and the futures markets of all sorts. Whether it be coffee, whether it be grain, whether it be any out there in the futures markets, we're seeing it being manipulated and profiteering is rife. And there isn't any regulators, as you say, so there's no much we can do about it. Unless we get to independence, of course.
Yes, that's granted, obviously. It's now a no-brainer. We need independence in order to be able to take control of some of these things ourselves. We can have our own watchdog looking at energy production, and it can be more under control by the people, because we'll have a...
David, the other interesting thing there is what the UK government are doing nothing has been pointed out in the comments, and the reason why they're doing nothing is because those who issue the licenses to access natural resources can put conditions on that. And when we talk about conditions, you and I have spoken about this extensively. We could say to the oil and gas companies, you will meet our domestic needs first at such and such a price, then you can sell the rest on the international market. You know,
yeah,
it's
we actually
who writes the license.
Well, we actually had an interesting thing happen in the 70s. If you all remember Anthony Wedgwood then, he was the energy minister at the time. He was trying to downplay Scottish oil, said there wasn't very much of it and it's very poor quality. That was what he was saying practically every night on the TV. However, what he did was, I believe it was either Esso or Phillips Petroleum. He was negotiating with them in terms of how much they would pay to the exchequer for the extraction of the oil.
Yep.
And they flipped their wig, off they went, and he went, right, fine, okay, no worries, I'll give it to somebody else. Within 5 days, they were back through the door, ready to negotiate. You have to remember, the oil companies need Scotland's oil, and they'll do anything to make sure they retain that resource, because that's how they make money. Another thing, which I'm just going to lead on from that, at the moment, you are being lied to by the chief executives of all the oil companies. They're going to put money into renewables. Now, what they're talking about is producing hydrogen. And they're going, oh, hydrogen's a nice green gas. We can do that. We can do a mix. We can do whatever, right? Hydrogen, there's different types of hydrogen, many different colours of hydrogen. The one that I'm for is green hydrogen, which is the totally, utterly green. All it does is it splits the hydrogen and oxygen molecules out of water, which is H2O, right? What they are talking about is producing blue hydrogen. Blue hydrogen is produced using natural gas. So it allows these people, be nice, it allows these people to continue doing what they've been doing, yanking stuff out of the ground, whirling it around and selling it to us at exorbitant prices.
Of course.
Anyway, right, I'll leave it to you, David. On you go.
Listen, I've lost my thread, man. You were off. You were talking about the first bit about green and blue hydrogen, which are the two hydrogens we're talking about here. Green hydrogen is a really it's being tested, as you know, in the Orkneys. They're talking about building a wind farm in Sombra, which will also produce green hydrogen. And as you know, the Whiteways wind farm here in the Central Belt, just outside East Kilbride, Glasgow, is actually starting a project to produce green hydrogen with the excess energy for the Whiteways wind farm, which they intend to use to power heavy machinery, as you know, and specifically public transport. And as you're well aware, down in South Street of the old Albion, there's a company in there right now, they were showing their stuff at COP26, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, who are producing hydrogen buses. So
Yes.
what you have is a localised supply. You have the White Wees wind farm producing the hydrogen that these buses need to run on. You know, hydrogen
Well,
is
I'd
the
like
future of heavy machinery.
I'd like to see it coming right down to personal transport cars actually running on hydrogen, right? And you know, the beauty of green hydrogen is that, okay, you would need a pressure vessel in the boot or something like that to hold the hydrogen, and there's got to be slight changes to a normal petrol car. You can't do it with diesel, but you can do it with a petrol car, right? And that means that bloody hell, a second-hand car, you get a conversion kit, converted to run on hydrogen. Hydrogen you'll be able to get at the local petrol station, because lo and behold, they'll be selling the hydrogen. I guarantee that. It might not be this year or next year, but it'll certainly be the year after that, you know.
Yep.
Once that happens, you know, you've got buses running hydrogen, you've got trains running hydrogen, you've got boats running hydrogen, and cars running hydrogen. That makes things much easier.
Don't forget Indy Truck, Davies motor and all. You get trucks running hydrogen.
Don't want to give you any more oomph, David.
Well, let's look at the comments, because Rosie McGregor sent us a wee message saying hi, but when somebody messages me, the box pops up in front of the comments on the screen.
Right.
Wait till about Thomas Walker saying wait till put fags up to £20 a packet. Aye, Davey and I will be right trouble. Because we're a pair of dinosaurs that still smoke.
Are we finding out how to grow tobacco at the back?
How to dry it and how to make big cigars out of it.
That's the way.
Anyway, back to the ripple. But I mean, talking about Scotland's energy capacity, let's talk about pump storage and the new proposal to bring on what is it, 13.6 gigawatt at the new Crooken site.
No, it's at the moment between the two main hydroelectric plants, you've got 13.6 gigawatts, right? The extension to Crooken, the power generator in the mountain, that's going to add another 1.09 gigawatts. Still a fair extension in terms of power. It's going to take 6 years to build. They're talking about starting in 2024. So that means the first energy that will come out of it will be 2030.
Well, as you know, you and I will know, but the viewers won't know. Actually, the pump storage hydro systems actually sit dormant most of the time, waiting on a drop in the base load. They're more active now because we're more reliable on wind. We're more reliable on wind here. So when there's a drop, the base load's already there, and the pump storage system. People have to understand that. David, I'll leave it to you to explain to the public what the base load is.
Yeah, but basically, base load is something you can rely on. Now, okay, if you cover every hill and every mountain and every bit of water with wood generators, you don't worry about base load because the air would have to stop moving, and that's just not possible, right? Base load is only there when you haven't got enough power generation. And when you haven't got enough power generation, you need something that you can throw in and it'll cover for everybody switching on their kettles at the end of Coronation Street or whatever, right? So that's what they call base load. And the hydroelectric dams are quite good because it's pump storage. And what they do is during the night, when the power's not really required, what they do is they pump all the water back up the hill to a lock at the top. Yep. And then when it's needed, they release it down the way, and it's gravity pushing the water through the turbine that does the trick. Yep. Now, in actual fact, hydroelectric dams the biggest power generator in the entire world is the Three Gorges hydroelectric dam, and that's in China, and that's double the size in terms of output as the largest nuclear power station in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, just thought you'd like to know that.
Let's go back to renewables. You keep talking about one of the problems with renewables is energy storage. Well, we've just talked about the pump storage system, hydroelectric, but the Scottish Government have already given approval for AMP, which is a Canadian company, to build 2 massive batteries which will hold hold on, I've got it on the screen in front of me, 1.6 megawatt hours of battery storage system in Scotland. Now 800 megawatt hours of that will be built at Hunterston. These are going to be huge batteries, and the 600 megawatt battery storage system to hold on to power for when the base load drops a bit will be built at the old Long Annet site in Fife. No, Fife. Well, it might be. I'm not quite sure whether that's Clackmannanshire or Fife, Long Annet, but you know what I mean. Where the old power station was. Where they're talking about building a train production plant as well. But the plan is to and see if these batteries work, and if they do work, then you can always build a few more on brownfield sites.
I've got a wee problem with batteries in that they're costly. That's point one. They only last for so long, right? And the most of the designs of batteries for that kind of thing is lithium ion or lithium sulfur batteries. Lithium sulfur is the new idea that's come out. They're lighter, cheaper to make, but the most important thing is that lithium itself, which is the one of the main materials used, is in short supply in the world. And if we figure, if everybody went out and bought an electric car in the entire world, there wouldn't be enough lithium to go around. Yeah. So it depends on the battery technology that they use. I don't imagine for a minute that they'll go for the most expensive solution. It'll be the cheapest solution, and it'll be multiples of, and it'll be a battery float system where one side's getting charged while the other side's getting in use.
The discussion between hydrogen and electric has sparked a lively debate here on the comments, David. And we've got the pros and cons of hydrogen against electric here. It's quite good. You're talking about no being enough materials to make the batteries. We've got Lenny talking about circular hydrogen. We've got Anne talking about charging points. And we've got Paul talking about charging points. So it sparked a lively debate on the pros and cons of electric versus hydrogen. And you're right, Anne, you do have an electric car. You've got a 7-year guarantee. That's because the battery only lasts 10. And early years, as the winters get around, the battery capacity gets less and less. So hydrogen versus electric sparked a lively debate here. And that's good.
I believe that for Scotland, green hydrogen is the way forward, because we've already got an awful lot of the infrastructure that we require in order to produce this stuff. And if we don't get full...
let's get back to what this would take, the price. If we were in charge of our energy policy and could or let's get to how we nationalise the bloody power again. You and I have spoken about this extensively, about the government getting into competition. The SNP picked up on the idea, but it failed to materialise so far.
Yeah, well, they couldn't do it at the time because if they when they initially opened up a Scottish energy company, it would be literally working as a wholesaler, like OVO Energy or whatever. And at the time that they were looking to do it, there was companies going out of business left, right, and centre. So it's something that's going to have to wait, and you're going to have to be patient. But I assure you, a Scottish-owned, a state-owned energy company, when we're an independent country, I'll bet my shirt on it. Seriously.
Let's talk a wee bit about how we're going to do it, because we're not going to buy buy the infrastructure back after these buggers, or we're not going to buy out these energy companies. What we're going to do is we're going to undercut them in the wholesale market and bring it to the
Trade
point
them out of business.
which will bring it to the point where there's only one person in the market you can go buy it for a retail point of view, and that would be the Scottish Government. And as the Scottish Government's issued licences to generate, they can put terms and conditions on it.
Yeah, well, you know, when they talk about renationalising, what a lot of people are talking about is, well, let's buy it off these people, right? All you're doing is giving the fat cats money. They already got our money,
Aye.
right? They already ripped us off.
Aye.
So why on earth are we giving them more money? No, set up next door, put your shop next door to theirs, do it for cheaper prices, trade them out of business, and take all their staff at the same time.
And because we issue the licences for them to generate in the first place, we can make them sell it cheaper to us than what they can to the others.
Correct. Absolutely. Right. Listen, that's I'm very, very mindful that it's a half-hour program. I do not want to extend this any longer than we said we would. So I'm going to say good night to all and thank you for joining us. Really, honestly, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're with us is wonderful.
Wait a minute, you're staying on until we round this up. Listen, folks, thanks for joining us. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it informative. I hope you learned something out of it, and I hope you enjoyed the banter. And I hope you join us next Thursday. And your comments have been absolutely fantastic. I'm glad that what we were talking about sparked a wee bit of debate. So let's do it again next Thursday on a different issue. All right, good night, David. Good night, folks.
Cue the music.
I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll get back to writing tomorrow's show. Good night.